Meanwhile, the question remains whether Elvis Presley would have been better off with Priscilla Presley or Debra Paget. Priscilla Presley, the woman he eventually married, was a devoted wife and mother to their daughter Lisa Marie Presley. She was known to have been very supportive of Elvis's career and was often seen accompanying him to various events and functions. However, it is also worth noting that Priscilla Presley was relatively young when she met Elvis, and some have argued that their significant age difference may have put a strain on their relationship. On the other hand, Debra Paget was an actress who had already established herself in Hollywood when she met Elvis, and some have speculated that her independence and strong will may have been more appealing to him in the long run. Despite his charms, Elvis was ultimately unable to win Debra Paget's heart, and it is interesting to consider how their relationship may have played out if she had accepted his advances. It is also worth noting that Debra Paget was a devout Christian, and her strong faith may have been an important factor in her decision not to pursue a romantic relationship with Elvis. In contrast, Priscilla Presley was more willing to adapt to Elvis's lifestyle and was eventually drawn into his inner circle. Ultimately, it is impossible to know for certain whether Elvis would have been better off with Priscilla Presley or Debra Paget, but it is clear that both women played important roles in his life. Following the news of Elvis Presley's numerous romantic conquests, one particular story stands out as a fascinating tale of unrequited love. Elvis Presley kept searching for Debra Paget after she turned down his proposal, leading to debates about whether it was a wrong judgment on her part, or if he was not at his best at the time. Paget described their relationship as a childish romance, which puzzled fans as Elvis was highly desired by many women. This rejection was unusual, as Elvis was known for his charisma and charm that often left women smitten. Debra Paget was an American actress and dancer who caught Elvis's eye, and he was immediately smitten. Despite his fame and wealth, Elvis found himself deeply infatuated with Paget, and he proposed to her. However, Paget rejected his proposal, leaving Elvis heartbroken. What is interesting about this story is that Elvis did not give up easily. He continued to pursue Paget, hoping that she would eventually change her mind. Paget's description of their relationship as a childish romance has sparked debate among fans, with some arguing that she was too hasty in her judgment. Others have suggested that Elvis was not at his best during this time, and that his behavior was immature and overly possessive. Despite the speculation, it is clear that Elvis was deeply affected by Paget's rejection, and it had a lasting impact on him. The fact that Elvis was so taken with Paget, despite being one of the most eligible bachelors of his time, is a testament to the depth of his feelings for her. His persistence in pursuing her, even after she had rejected him, shows that he was willing to take risks and face rejection in order to be with the woman he loved. This vulnerability is a side of Elvis that is not often seen, and it humanizes him in a way that is relatable to fans. In the end, Elvis's pursuit of Paget was ultimately unsuccessful, and he was left to pick up the pieces of his broken heart. However, this story serves as a reminder that even the most famous and charismatic people can experience rejection and heartbreak, and that it is how we respond to these experiences that truly defines us. Similarly to the narrator's personal experience of rejection, Elvis Presley also faced rejection at the hands of Marion Keisker Paget, a receptionist at Sun Records. Paget is often remembered for being the one who initially rejected Elvis, which has become a notable part of her legacy in modern times. The narrator relates to Elvis's situation with Paget, emphasizing the emotional impact of being turned down. Just like the narrator, Elvis must have felt a deep sense of disappointment and frustration when Paget rejected him. However, unlike the narrator, Elvis's rejection did not define his career. Instead, it served as a stepping stone for him to prove himself and eventually become one of the most iconic musicians of all time. Paget's rejection of Elvis has become a lasting memory, not just for Elvis, but for music enthusiasts around the world. It is a reminder that even the most talented individuals can face rejection, but it is how they respond to it that truly matters. In Elvis's case, he used the rejection as fuel to drive his passion for music and prove his doubters wrong. The narrator, on the other hand, seems to have been deeply affected by their personal experience of rejection, drawing parallels between their situation and Elvis's encounter with Paget. The emotional impact of being turned down can be overwhelming, and it is clear that the narrator is still grappling with the aftermath of their rejection. Despite this, the narrator's ability to relate to Elvis's situation with Paget serves as a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope for a brighter future. Paget's lasting memory is not just about rejecting Elvis, but also about the impact that rejection can have on an individual's life. It is a testament to the human spirit and the ability to persevere in the face of adversity. Meanwhile, Elvis's fascination with Debra Paget had a lasting impact on his life, particularly in his relationships with women. He considered Paget the most beautiful woman he had ever seen, a sentiment that would influence his perception of beauty in the women he encountered later in life. Despite eventually proposing to and marrying Priscilla, Elvis's obsession with Paget led to a pattern of seeking similar qualities in other women. This pattern contributed to his reputation for womanizing, as he often found himself drawn to women who possessed characteristics reminiscent of Paget. Elvis's infatuation with Paget was not a fleeting fascination, but rather a deep-seated admiration that lingered long after their initial meeting. His perception of beauty became closely tied to the qualities he admired in Paget, and he often sought out women who embodied these characteristics. This led to a series of relationships and encounters with women who, in some way, reminded him of Paget. As a result of his ongoing fascination with Paget, Elvis's marriage to Priscilla was ultimately affected. His reputation for womanizing, fueled by his continued pursuit of women who resembled Paget, put a strain on their relationship. The couple's eventual divorce was, in part, a consequence of Elvis's inability to shake his obsession with the qualities he admired in Paget. Elvis's relationships with women were often intense and passionate, but also fleeting and superficial. His inability to find a lasting connection with someone who embodied the qualities he admired in Paget led to a series of failed relationships and encounters. Despite his fame and success, Elvis's personal life was marked by turmoil and instability, much of which was fueled by his ongoing fascination with Paget. In the end, Elvis's admiration for Paget had a profound impact on his life, shaping his perception of beauty and influencing his relationships with women. His reputation for womanizing, though often sensationalized, was rooted in his deep-seated admiration for the qualities he admired in Paget. As a result, his personal life was marked by turmoil and instability, a testament to the lasting impact of his fascination with Paget. However, the given summary does not match the subject name. The subject name is about Paget's career beginnings and Elvis's fascination, but it does not mention the name of Paget. Assuming the subject name refers to Debra Paget, an American actress who worked with Elvis Presley in the film Love Me Tender, here is the detailed text. Meanwhile, Debra Paget started her acting career early, appearing in Shakespeare's plays and securing roles in major films like The Ten Commandments. Her early start in the acting world helped her gain experience and recognition in the film industry. As she grew older, she continued to land roles in various films, eventually working with Elvis Presley in the 1956 film Love Me Tender. During the production of Love Me Tender, Elvis became infatuated with Debra Paget, showing his interest in her both on and off set. Elvis's fascination with Debra was evident to the people around them, and it seemed that he was smitten with her. However, it is essential to note that the given summary does not provide information about Debra's feelings towards Elvis, or the outcome of his infatuation. Despite being a talented actress, Debra Paget struggled to achieve top stardom in Hollywood, a stark contrast to Elvis Presley's widespread fame and success. While Elvis's charm and growing popularity would have made him a desirable partner to many, Paget may have had different preferences that could explain her lack of interest in him. It is said that Paget preferred older, wealthier men, which might have led her to overlook Elvis despite his charisma and rising fame. Elvis Presley, on the other hand, was a rising star in the music industry, known for his unique voice, dance moves, and style. He was charming, handsome, and had a certain aura that drew people to him. As his popularity grew, so did his fame, and he became a household name. Many women were drawn to his charm, but Paget seemed immune to it. Paget's preference for older, wealthier men might have been due to her desire for stability and security. As an actress, she was likely aware of the fleeting nature of fame and the importance of having a stable partner to rely on. Elvis, on the other hand, was still a young man trying to make a name for himself in the music industry. Despite his growing fame, he might not have fit Paget's ideal of a stable partner. It's also possible that Paget was simply not interested in Elvis's type. As a rising star, Elvis was known for his energetic performances and charismatic stage presence. However, Paget might have preferred a more subdued and mature partner, someone who was established in their career and had a sense of stability. Regardless of the reasons, it's clear that Paget and Elvis were not meant to be. While Elvis went on to become a legendary musician, Paget continued to work as an actress, albeit without achieving the same level of fame as her counterpart. Meanwhile, rumors surrounding Elvis Presley's life were quite common, and his relationship with actress Debra Paget was no exception. It was suggested that Paget was romantically involved with Howard Hughes, a wealthy businessman and film producer, which might have influenced her decision to reject Elvis. This rumor added to the speculation about Elvis's love life, as many people were curious about his relationships. Additionally, the age difference between Elvis and Debra Paget might have also played a role in her decision to reject him. Paget was older than Elvis by 17 months, which might have affected her perception of him and contributed to her rejection. The age difference, although relatively small, might have been significant enough to impact their relationship, especially considering the societal norms of the time. It is also worth noting that Debra Paget was a well-established actress at the time, having already appeared in several films and television shows. Her experience and maturity might have made her more cautious in her relationships, especially with someone like Elvis, who was still rising to fame. The combination of her possible involvement with Howard Hughes and her age difference with Elvis might have ultimately led to her decision to reject him. The rumors surrounding Elvis's relationship with Debra Paget add to the complexity of his love life, which was often subject to speculation and scrutiny. Despite the rumors, Elvis continued to focus on his music and career, eventually becoming one of the most iconic figures in rock and roll history. Meanwhile, Paget's family played a significant role in her decision to turn down Elvis's proposal. Her family did not approve of Elvis, which greatly influenced her choice. Despite this, Paget described Elvis as humble and lovely, showcasing a more personal side of the famous musician. She also believed that Elvis had the potential to be a great actor, but felt that certain aspects of his talent were underutilized. This suggests that Paget saw Elvis as more than just a musician, but as a multifaceted individual with various talents waiting to be explored. Meanwhile, the media portrayal and public perception of Elvis Presley's relationship with actress and model June Paget has been a subject of interest among his fans. Paget's comments in the media about Elvis were seen as attempts to explain or justify her rejection of him. According to some reports, Paget had been a strong contender to become Elvis's wife, but she ultimately decided against marrying him. This decision has led to much speculation among Elvis's fans, who continue to fantasize about what his life would have been like if he had married Paget instead of Priscilla Presley. Elvis's relationship with Paget was reportedly a serious one, and some of his friends and family members believed that she was the right woman for him. However, Paget's rejection of Elvis's proposal has been the subject of much debate and speculation. Some have suggested that Paget was intimidated by Elvis's fame and the pressures of being in a high-profile relationship. Others have speculated that Paget was not ready to settle down and start a family with Elvis. Despite the speculation surrounding their relationship, Paget has always spoken highly of Elvis and has expressed her admiration for his talent and charisma. In various interviews, Paget has described Elvis as a kind and generous person who was deeply committed to his music and his fans. She has also praised his sense of humor and his ability to make those around him feel at ease. Elvis's fans, on the other hand, continue to wonder what might have been if he had married Paget instead of Priscilla. Some have speculated that Paget would have been a more supportive and understanding partner for Elvis, who struggled with the pressures of fame and the demands of his career. Others have suggested that Paget would have been a more positive influence on Elvis, who struggled with addiction and personal demons throughout his life. Regardless of the speculation surrounding their relationship, it is clear that Elvis's rejection by Paget had a profound impact on his life and career. His subsequent marriage to Priscilla was marked by turmoil and infidelity, and Elvis's struggles with addiction and personal demons continued to plague him until his death in 1977. Despite the challenges he faced, Elvis remains one of the most beloved and enduring figures in American music, and his legacy continues to inspire and captivate audiences around the world. Regarding the enigmatic charm of Elvis Presley, it is worth noting that those who knew him personally often found themselves at a loss for words when attempting to describe his romantic appeal. Priscilla Presley's friend, Paget, once mentioned that friends would frequently ask her about Elvis's romantic appeal, and she would respond diplomatically, acknowledging his charm. This response was likely a testament to the complexity of Elvis's personality, which seemed to effortlessly captivate those around him. While it is impossible to pinpoint a single quality that made Elvis so endearing to his fans, it is clear that his charisma played a significant role in his enduring popularity. As a cultural icon, Elvis's appeal transcended the realm of music, speaking to something deeper within those who were drawn to him. Despite the passing of time, Elvis's romantic appeal remains a topic of fascination, with many still seeking to understand the essence of his captivating presence.